Hello and welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Alfonso Peluso and I'm an associate teaching professor in the College of Architecture at IIT, the home of the legendary Mies van der Rohe, and I'm adjunct faculty at Columbia College Chicago in the Interior Architecture program. Shout out to all my students. I hope you're having a great day. It's a hot summer day here in Chicago. I hope the weather is great where you're at. Today, we are going to look at Midjourney aspect ratios and talk about all the different aspect ratios that you can use, or many of them anyway. So, in version 5, you can use any aspect ratio. That wasn't true in the earlier version. So, this just pertains to version 5. All right, before we jump into the tutorial, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Click on the subscribe and click on the bell to receive all the notifications. See what I'm up to. I'm making a lot of AI videos recently, but before that, I got into all the real-time rendering engines. That was a lot of fun. There should be something here for everybody, so subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content. Also, connect with me on Instagram at my first name Alfonso underscore my last name Peluso. See what I'm up to. I'm generating an AI image a day. I just started this out, so that's going pretty well. Also, see what I'm up to with my students. I recently finished a summer course in design visualization where students created renderings of their studio projects. We had a blast. All right, let's get into the aspect ratio. So I'm here in Discord, and as you know, Midjourney runs inside of Discord. So I'm just going to type in /imagine, and I'm going to type in metropole parasol. So this is a project in Spain you might be familiar with. And let's see what Midjourney gives us. So we get these really fantastic images, and to see them larger, you can click on it, and then if you press the space bar, you'll get them full screen in your browser. And these are really fantastic images just to start with of the Metropole Parasol in Spain. So by default, as you know, the aspect ratio is square. And I'd like to try some other aspect ratios and see what it does to the images. So let's look at telling Midjourney that I want this a widescreen aspect ratio, a 16:9, and see what we get with that. So I'm just going to copy paste this Metropole Parasol. I'm going to start a new prompt, /imagine. And just a hint, if you hit the space bar, it'll go right to the prompt after you type in imagine. And I'm going to type in that same Metropole Parasol, and I'm going to use an aspect ratio. And to do this, I make a space after parasol, and I do -- AR for aspect ratio, and then space, and then I put in my aspect ratio. So I'm going to put in 16:9, and let's see what Midjourney gives us with that. All right, as you can see, we get a very different image, a very different looking image. So I like to experiment with these aspect ratios because the content within the image is very different when I go from, say, square to 16:9. I'm seeing a lot more of the context in the 16:9. So if I'm looking for more context, I like that in this aspect ratio. So let's look at this a little bit larger. So as I mentioned, I'm seeing the project in the context and more of that context with the 16:9. And I use Midjourney for storytelling, so that really helps. And then I can always crop this image later. Okay, let's talk about some of these aspect ratios a little bit. So I have a blog page open to a masterclass article called 8 Aspect Ratios to Use for Films and TV. I'll put a link to this down in the description. So let's look at this. It's starting out with 4:3 ratio, or 1.33 to 1, which is what TV used to be back in the day. So that's like an old school TV or film ratio. And if we look over here, we can see the classic TV ratio. And we can compare that with what is today the widescreen, the 16 by 9. Okay, and that's the second one they show there. So that's typical high def widescreen is 16 by 9. And then we have 1.85 to 1, which is one of two standard aspect ratios in modern cinema. So if we look at this, um, we're seeing these ratios here, and this is all from the movie, the Grand Budapest Hotel, where they actually changed aspect ratios during the movie, and I thought that was really great. So we can look at the 1930s Academy aspect ratio, which is a little wider than the 4 by 3, and then we have anamorphic aspect ratio, which is wider than the 16 by 9. It's a nice aspect ratio. And then we have the widescreen standard 1.85 to 1. And I think that's what this was referring to in number 3, 1.85 to 1. And then we saw the anamorphic in there. One we didn't see is the 70 millimeter, which was made famous by the movie Ben-Hur back in the day. And this is a really super widescreen view. I think that looks really dramatic. I think we should try that one out with our parasol image. Okay, so the aspect ratio of this is 70 millimeters, super widescreen. So that was shot at 2.76 to 1, 70 millimeters. Now, I know I said Midjourney will accept any aspect ratio, but it wouldn't accept the 2.76, I'm guessing because of the decimal. So let me know in the comments if you find that to be different. So we're going to use 3 to 1 for the aspect ratio. All right, let's put in our prompt, /imagine, spacebar. I'm going to paste that in, and --AR and space, and this is going to be 3:1. So as you can see, this tells a whole different story. So in terms of storytelling, we're getting a different story here. So I'll make this a little bit bigger and space bar to make it even bigger. And when you're in this window, you could even, zoom in, and you can zoom in and pan around. So that's kind of nice to do inside of Midjourney. Yeah, I'm really liking this widescreen, this 70 millimeter. I think that looks great. So, these aspect ratios, it also depends on what is your final output. So this might not be great if I'm going to social media, because a lot of social media, like let's say Instagram, I do a lot of Instagram posts, and those end up being square. So I find that either 16 by 9, or I've been doing a lot of 9 by 16, which will fit on the cell phone vertically, which is really nice. So let's take a look at that. Let's do one more of these in the 16 by 9 and see what that looks like. So /imagine, space, I'm going to paste in, space, double dash, AR, and space, and this is going to be 9 by 16. So a very vertical image. Okay, so while Midjourney's working on that, let's take a look at some more of these aspect ratios, okay? So we looked at the 70 millimeter, and then we have the Academy ratio and the Cinerama and the Cinescope. I think I have an image that shows all of those. This is an image of Star Wars, which I think is pretty cool. I think this is an anamorphic. So that gives you an idea of anamorphic, where you're getting the black bars on the top and bottom, what we used to call letterbox. Okay, and here we see CinemaScope 2.35 to 1, which is a really wide screen aspect ratio. And this one is really good, because this kind of is what most people are looking for in terms of aspect ratios, looking at it in terms of your cell phone. So you can see the old school TV at 4 to 5, and then 2 to 3, a little bit taller. 9:16, which we're doing right now, fills the phone vertically. You have square 1 to 1, and then your widescreen horizontal 16 by 9, and then a horizontal 3 by 2. The 3 by 2 is similar to the letterbox, where you'd get the black lines on the top and on the bottom. All right, let's see what we got over here. All right, this is totally different in terms of telling the story. It brought us inside now on the bottom views. Let's take a look at that, and I can zoom into that. So we're really, in terms of storytelling, we're being brought into this project. So I invite you to experiment with different aspect ratios. It really does change the look and the feel and the content, more importantly, of what you're getting inside of Midjourney. All right, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Give me a like. Talk to me. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see. All right, this was fantastic. I will see you on the next one.